What's happening, everybody? My name is Justin and welcome back to the BTR Garage. Today is kind of a milestone video, not because what we're going to talk about in the video, but because our channel just reached or surpassed the 10,000 subscriber mark. 10,000 subscribers to me for my tiny little specialized race car and car YouTube channel that I do in my spare time is pretty awesome in my opinion. And I thank everybody for watching over the years. Hope you continue to enjoy the videos and continue to watch. And I'll try to keep putting out helpful and interesting and fun videos for you at the same time. If you're wondering how you can support the channel and help me out, you can hit that subscribe button down below, become a subscriber, part of the BTR gang. Believe it or not, the large majority of viewers of my videos are not actually subscribers. So if you want to hit that subscribe button again, that really helps me out. And we have BTR gear, build, test, race. I think that's it, build, test, race, yep. BTR gear, shirts like this one here, you can check them out. I'll put the link down below, maybe some images up on the screen here. I'm gonna add more stuff to that as I find time, but that's another way you can support the channel. All right, so enough about that. Thanks again, everybody. We're gonna get to the actual video and bring you up to speed on the progress of my S52 BMW M3 engine. As you can see, we've kind of got it sitting back here behind me on the engine hoist. I've got the transmission attached. I think it's pretty much ready to go in the car. I'm gonna show you what we've done up to this point and show you what is next. So this engine swap has been a work in progress for a few months now. I had a handful of friends come over to help me get the engine out of the car pre-COVID-19 stay-at-home order stuff. And by the way, I hope everybody is staying safe out there and taking care of yourselves in these crazy times. But anyways, we got the engine taken out of the car. Nothing left in the engine bay in my beloved E36 junker BMW that is 25 years old, 26 years old now. But we got the S52 swap here from a buddy locally, and I've got pretty much everything bolted up to it and back together. I'll show you in more detail in a second on that. The engine that came out of the car was my BMW M50, and that engine I'll be selling and getting rid of at some point, of course. But let's take a closer look at the S52 and what I've done to it to get it prepped to go into the car. Here's what your BMW S52 engine looks like outside of the car with the transmission and everything attached. I'll kind of start from the back on the transmission here. So I did a shifter rebuild while I was at it. So this piece here with the bushing and the little seal back in here, that stuff's all new. My transmission was leaking a lot of fluid out of that seal, unfortunately, but we got that replaced. Got the new coupler replaced for the shift linkage. Towards the rear of the engine, we added a new fuel filter. This is your fuel filter, your fuel lines that come off of it, stuck under there a little bit. Return line, feed line, and then underneath the intake manifold, a lot of stuff actually gets cleaned up in here when you remove some of the coolant hoses and things. This hose is new. Pretty much every hose and sensor and gasket is new under here. New coolant line there, and even eliminated a lot of the coolant lines that were in the middle there that would go back to the heater core for heating the car. This is a port for the heater core coolant line, which has been deleted and just capped off. You can see I've got some additional wires here. These actually are going to sensors, which are kind of back in there for oil temperature, oil pressure, and then there's also one for coolant temperature, which happens to be connected to that extra port right up there in the block above the silver piece, which is the idle control valve. And I even have a Euro style oil filter housing with connections on it so we can add an oil cooler. In addition to that, I've got a new power steering reservoir, new power steering hose down on the bottom there, and moving up to the top of the engine. This is the manifold off of my M50 engine. It's a common upgrade on these S52 engines to use this intake manifold because of the larger and longer runners increases top end power. Try to scoot over to the exhaust side. Nothing new over here, but I do have my Turner Motorsports shorty headers on the car. Those came right off of my M50 as well and bolt up right to the S52. Now that's everything on the engine itself. I even took the oil pan from my M50, which is sitting over here, and put it on the S52. Again, pretty much everything just bolts right up to this engine. It's pretty cool how they're all modular and you can share parts between them. And I did that with the oil pan because that one has been baffled. It's made for racing, has an oil baffle in it to keep oil from sloshing to one side of the oil pan and starving the engine of fluid under high G cornering forces like this car does pretty regularly. Nothing real special going on in the engine bay, although I did delete a lot of the components that I don't need anymore, like the heater core piping, which sits towards the back of the engine back there. And then a couple other minor things like removing the charcoal canister. I now have that vented through the little filter, and that's really about it for the engine bay. Oh, and I can't forget to mention that I replaced the rod bearings on the engine before getting it all put back together as well. So fresh rod bearings have been installed, and I'm going to show you those gauges that I talked about just a minute ago. So what I picked up was a set of GlowShift digital series gauges. Not only do they have the analog dial, but it also has a digital readout on the gauge as well. This makes it quick and easy to see where your temperatures or your pressures are while you're on the track and things are moving really fast. I've got an oil temp gauge, an oil pressure gauge, as well as a coolant temperature gauge to keep track of the vitals on the car. And those guys will eventually be installed into this Harden Motorsports gauge panel, which actually fits into the OEM dash on the car. And naturally, my microphone battery ran out while I was doing my closing part of the video, so here I am trying to stuff the engine in the car, and this is where we're gonna leave things off for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the update on my BMW S52 swap. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please leave them down below in the comments. I always love to hear from you. Stay fast out there, stay safe. I am checking out, and we'll talk to you all next time.